Good morning, Krakoa. Hi there, I'm Michael.
I'm DeVon.
And I'm Terence.
And each week, we bring to you all of the various X books out there. We will discuss them, we will dissect them, we will go down numerous rabbit holes, all for your listening pleasure. But we're only going to talk about the X books, so strap in, because it's going to be a fun ride. How's it going, guys?
It's going great.
Yeah, going pretty good.
Yeah, I am feeling good, feeling blessed. Something, in my bed. I don't know, I can't remember the song.
And I have no idea what that song was supposed to be, so never
Not
heard
even
of it.
Google knows.
Yeah, I don't know her. So, what books do we have today to talk about?
Today we've got Way of X, Yay,
Yay.
and Wolverine. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I will take Wolverine first. Let's just get the bad shit out of the... Let's not sugarcoat it, okay?
Yeah.
No one here is really loving Wolverine. Let's just get through it and get on to better stuff. He ain't even my whole night.
It's true. It's true. I feel so prejudiced. Like, the book is starting with a major disadvantage, and that's the fact that it's a Wolverine book. But
Hey, they had every opportunity to make Wolverine much more interesting this go around, and they didn't. So
No, they stuck to the same schlock that Wolverine's been up to since he was introduced.
Yep.
This is a rehash of every Wolverine side adventure ever.
and we haven't even done the summary yet, folks.
So we'll take
All
a
right.
drink every time we hit a familiar Wolverine trope.
before I start, this is Wolverine. It was written by Benjamin Percy, and penciled by Scott Eaton, and inked by J.P. Meyer, and colors are by Matthew Wilson.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
So basically we have Wolverine being sad about this woman who we don't even know because we don't care about her, but she's a vampire. But surprise, everybody in the Order turns out to be vampires. And Omega Red actually has a pretty good idea, which is to give them a body so they can get Wolverine's blood, because why not just make a clone? And that's important because it does make us ask about the ethics of cloning and reviving bodies on Krakoa. And they do, but surprise, they tainted it with sunlight in some kind of magical science fiction-y way. And Dracula's plans are reduced to ash, ha ha ha, and he flies away. And then we also realize that there is one other issue here, because he takes this chick to the vampire realm of Sevalith, which looks down on regular vampires because there's always classism no matter where you are. And surprise, it turns out Sevalith is somehow ruled by death from Krakoa. The end.
53 seconds.
Boom, there we go. So like I said, you know, and like we have said, Wolverine, not that amazing of a book here. And I really do not remember this woman's name, and I don't really care because Louise, not even Louise Belcher level. But he takes Louise to Sevalith, which is interesting. So we're actually tying that into something that's somewhat relevant to what's going on. And it was surprising to see that Death from Arakko is actually still here and not been consumed by vampires. And also that they're kind of snobs when it comes to other vampires. I think the most interesting thing here was using the idea of generating a Wolverine body to give to the vampires, because actually that is a relatively elegant solution, but it draws a lot of complicated questions about what we use resurrection protocols for. Of course, they weren't going to give the vampires the things they wanted, which was cultural legitimacy. But hooray. I guess that worked out. I guess he'll never look for Wolverine's blood again because they all got burned this way.
I guess well, it's kind of like a how can we know for sure
How will
that
we
it's
ever
good
know?
blood?
Right.
Right. This is one of those resolution/non-resolution things. Yeah, they managed to kill a couple of vampires, but Dracula's still out there. Well, he knows Wolverine is still out there. He's not going to stop trying to create this magic daywalking blood margarita.
And Louise got her own like magical sun armor, which I'm kind of like, you know what that's called? Just covering up, girl.
Yeah.
Oh, Dracula needs to find a way to get vampires to like walk around. Jesus, like just wear a smock.
Exactly. Like in the book, this same book, they show an alternative that Dracula could do.
Like, is it really worth it, like, hunting down this one dude to get his blood when you could just contract any hack of a scientist out there to make something that blocks UV radiation that's still somewhat transparent and maybe sort of fashionable? I think you can do it. Yeah. This was unnecessary.
Speaking of hack scientists, there's also the sub-storyline of some rando that we don't know and don't care about, and his assistant that we don't know and don't care about that was turned into a vampire. And the goal was to cure him, cure vampirism. And that may happen one day, I guess. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he got killed. So
I thought Wolverine saved him. I can't remember.
Oh, no, he's definitely taking a claw through the torso. So I'm
well, sure there ends that storyline.
How pointless.
Like you mentioned at the beginning, I appreciated that Death is back and that they tied it into the greater Krakoa storyline.
It's interesting here because Louise goes to Sevalith and like basically exploits their classism to have them engage in what seems to be the ethnic cleansing of Earth-based vampires. But at the same time, I don't know how you can really contrast Sevalith as like a better place because they have these like blood pools or blood wombs where they birth children. But I'm like, where are they getting the blood? Where are you sourcing that blood? That blood has to come from somewhere.
Well, yeah, and we've seen them recently too. In the last issue of New Mutants, they're what was his name? Josh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has his vampire friend.
I guess we'll just accept that this whole world of vampires is somehow ethical, like ethically sourced blood.
I mean, I guess
Omega Red, I guess, is trying to do his best.
I mean, he was honest. I'll give him that. I appreciated his transparency. I mean, like, Dracula owns me. He is controlling me right now.
Right.
Dracula owns him in a purely biological way, if I remember correctly. So now that he shared this with them, couldn't they just kill him and then re-up him and then he wouldn't be owned by Dracula anymore? I have one more. It's more of a complaint. In X-Force, way back before Krakoa, they at one point had Omega Red and Lady Deathstrike, and they were all doing extra stuff. It was a pretty cool book. One of the more interesting things was that, for whatever reason, Omega Red had a tiger kitten as his pet. Where did it go? Where's the tiger?
Oh, I think it went the way of Butter Rum.
No.
Well, I mean, who babysits your pets when you're out doing butt work for Dracula?
My ex.
See?
Yeah, so there we go. It's his ex.
Yeah. Who's dating Omega Red? That just begets more questions.
Probably Lady Deathstrike. You don't know. Things in common.
Yeah. They both hate Logan, I think. Does Omega Red really hate Logan? I don't know. Was he ever really his nemesis?
Doesn't everyone really hate Logan?
Everyone really hates Logan.
Everyone hates Logan. New sitcom.
I do want to point out this this evidence log data page and how horrible it was.
Please go on.
Yes, we get the lab report of how special Wolverine's blood is, but it's interspersed with his inner thoughts about being controlled by Dracula. How is that a plausible delivery of this? Like, why would that be there? That was very poorly delivered, in my opinion, and puts more fuel to the fire of my hatred of these data pages.
Yes, absolutely, because this is not even like a transcription. It's not like a transcript of a recording, in which case him talking like below his own breath or his inner dialogue would make more sense. This is a notebook. Like, who writes this as they write, like in the margins? This was very clearly like a page, a comic book page that you didn't want to draw because that would make more sense, right? You could have him writing in his notebook and thought bubble, oh, he's going to kill me. Writing in his notebook, thought bubble, help me, God, help me. But no, you didn't want to draw it. You didn't have space for it, but you wanted to shove it in here. So now we have a page of text that.
And it added almost nothing to the story.
Yeah. Oh, the guy's under his thrall. We didn't know that. Dracula's not a great boss. We didn't know that.
We know Wolverine's blood is special. That's the entire point of this story. We didn't need the actual chemical makeup of it.
Like,
I mean, shit, Jubilee, when she was in her vampire phase, was having regular donations of Wolverine blood all the time.
Yeah, like we know. We done been new.
It was just
hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it. Okay, then let's move on to Way of X. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Legion goes inside Kurt's head, pulls something out after seeing a bunch of pirates. Who knew? Everybody knew. and then says that Kurt owes him a favor. And so Kurt goes and recruits Dr. Nemesis, who is at apparently the only bar in Krakoa. Nemesis is currently heckling poor beaten Fabian Cortez, who was a Dazzler fan. Who knows? And then they, with Pixie, go to where a lab of Orcus is keeping what's left of Legion's brain, which they are then using to experiment on to try and take down Krakoa. And Kurt makes a big sacrifice for himself and does Legion that big solid, and in a really cool panel, puts a bullet in his brain. Meanwhile, Xavier is like, maybe we shouldn't resurrect him. And then Legion's like, I'll do it myself. And so now he's back, and everybody is afraid and shaking. And then Legion is like, there's a reason I don't trust Magneto or my dad, and it's because it was Onslaught all along. That's the end.
Nice. All right, that is 1 minute and 14 seconds. Well done, sir.
Woohoo!
It was a pretty dense book, and still keeping in that tradition of being interesting, confronting the world that we've built with the Krakoan laws and the island. And it's nice to see Charles, get taken down a peg or three.
Yeah, I really liked that Legion was like, I don't like to be called Legion, call me David. And it's because of the name, which honestly, that does make sense. Like, it's a really cool comic book name for the character considering his situation, but it is making fun of his severe mental illness.
This seemed to indicate that actually, beyond just experimenting on David's brain to see what models would look like for Krakoa collapsing, they seem to also indicate that they've already been doing something to cause that weirdness that we've seen in the book. The way that the Crucible has seemed very violent recently with Lost, the way people are just kind of mindlessly cheering. So maybe that weirdness was actually part of the plot here, that Orcus has been trying to psychically push forward the ultimate collapse of Krakoan society, though they also seem to indicate that actually it could also just be Onslaught that was revealed to be the Patchwork Man running in the background the entire time. So the weirdness we've been seeing in the previous book apparently is part of the plot here, and that's good to know.
This actually makes me look back at previous issues, and it kind of retroactively explains a lot of complaints that I had about, say, House of X or even Powers of 10, because a lot of times I read online where people would complain because they're like, this doesn't feel like Storm, or this doesn't feel like so-and-so. Their personalities seem off. Well, this could be an explanation as for why their personalities are off, or why they are okay with things like the Crucible and stuff like that. Because they were using Legion's brain the whole time. And now we know where Legion has been this whole time too.
I would hesitate to extend the ramifications of this story to other books yet. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not plausible. Way of X is new, and while it may be playing a huge pivotal feature in this entire era, this may also just be its monster of the week. It's its intro here. So I wouldn't put too much into it just yet, but it does seem like it might be trending that way.
Yeah, I do agree with that level of caution, because I think it would be a little too late if it was explained here based on the things that we've seen. And that would be, I think, narratively a bit of a problem. But I think if it kind of smooths out some of the wrinkles that we've seen with some of the brutality, the laissez-faire attitude towards death, especially with Pixie just deciding all of a sudden to lean in and take a shotgun blast to the face, that helps explain it a little bit, like why the kids are being so blasé, which is a bit disturbing. And I think that helps with Kurt realizing that might be part of it, that it's part of an orchestrated thing. I was really surprised, though it is very interesting to get the opposite perspective on reality, because we're always told that Dazzler is a really good singer and that her music is still really good, only for Nemesis to be like, it sounds like screeching and you sound terrible. So I don't know what to believe, other than maybe Nemesis is just like a stick in the mud. But
he 100% is, because I don't know Nemesis that well. So after the first Wave of X, I went back and read some stuff, and my God, is he a tool? He's such He's
like Tony Stark on Krakoa. He's the Tony Stark of mutants.
He's a narcissistic misanthrope, and he's playing it to a T.
But it's always nice to fuck with reality a little bit. Like, is Dazzler uniformly recognized as a great singer? Apparently not.
I don't know. She's doing mid-afternoon shows in a bar on Krakoa. So
Girl, you need to think about your branding. Like, this is really taking you down a notch.
I do
But maybe
really
mutants get sold out shows. Maybe mutants don't have to pay for
Yeah.
tickets.
That's true. But also, I really like that Dazzler helps us understand the timeline. One of my big complaints about Marvel Comics is that I never know when the fuck something is happening or what the timeline is. You could go like 12 issues for a single night. But Dazzler is like, I've got a show at the gala tonight. So this helps us to know when this book is happening.
It's nice to see Lost show up again, and she seems to be okay, and she's got some nice duds, which is great. And it's also nice that we're seeing that it seems to be because of the Patchwork Man, that is what's causing this weird thing with her powers, and not actually her. It seems to give her, strangely, a little bit more agency than just being this tragic mutant who can't control her powers and makes everyone throw up all the time. Like, I was kind of hoping that Kurt would get back to her by the end of the issue, but he doesn't. I really do not jive with this character being used for pity fodder. So I'm hoping that she really gets more space in this book eventually.
Yeah, I'm curious about where we're going to go with that. I do notice that she's being shown every time Patchwork Man is around. So what is that? Like, they've got more for that, I'm sure.
Interesting that David got the no girl treatment by having his brain stuck in a jar for a while.
Yeah, but he got a body.
Yeah, exactly. Be salty about it.
Right. Well, he got a body, but only because Kurt, number one, killed him. And then two, in David's case, they weren't going to resurrect him. They were just going to make a body with nobody in it, I guess, and burn it or something. Like, why go through all that trouble?
That makes no sense, right? Because the council has to like help approve, right, who's on the list. And how would you be like, it must be that Xavier was being super wishy-washy about it. He's like, I don't want to seem like a douchebag dad, so I'm not going to say anything about David being on the list, but when it comes down to it, I'm not going to put his brain in the body. Sorry.
Yeah.
And thank God Legion had the wherewithal to just put himself in his body, because
I mean,
Xavier's a shit dad.
Kurt's on the council. So how much more approval would they need?
I don't know, but given that Xavier was so hesitant about it, you would think that if another council member was like, I don't know about this, I think there'd be much more of a conflict there, you know? Plus, David is one of the most powerful mutants on the face of the planet. I think this might be a case in which I would want to see more of a, even if it was a text page, like the council deliberation on bringing David back, because it clearly can't be a unilateral decision.
I am going to go deep in the weeds here and just say what I was thinking, that maybe Charles is the one that gave him David. Charles and Eric, I think they are trying to maybe fuel his fire, accelerate the growth of Krakoa by giving them a stable nemesis, a stable threat, something that they are familiar with and can control somewhat.
Well, you know, Magneto does approach David immediately to say that he does want him for a project. So it could be that Magneto was also in on getting David revived, and maybe Charles is just pulling back in the last minute because he's a coward.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because Magneto wasn't just doing a project, he was gathering a bunch of Omega level mutants for a display at the Hellfire Gala. So that makes me excited about what's going to come, especially, and this is kind of dipping into the future territory, but we've seen solicitations now that Magneto is going to go on trial for something in August. I'm very curious about what this all is going to be.
It was also a nice little character beat to see Pixie was there, obviously, because her soul knife can actually affect those psionic beings in David's head, but also that she mentions that she knew Blindfold, right? They were in the same kind of class generation together. And so you have that nice attachment back to that. That's good character work, where we're not really seeing that with other characters. Like, I'll Never Let It Go, like Anoli and Rockslide. Like, there's history, like, key into it. God, where's the editing here? And just looking at this last page here, I do want to point out what what Michael sent to us earlier regarding the artist, Bob Quinn. This book was written by Cy Spurrier, art by Bob Quinn, colors by Java Tartaglia. And Bob Quinn tweeted this thing saying that he actually inserted a mutant he had created a long time ago, just in his notebook, into the background of this book, and her name was Soft Serve, with the mutant ability to poop ice cream. And you actually do see her at the end of this book, kind of right by the gate, and she's thrusting a soft serve cone into someone's face.
The worst.
So she's canon now, I guess.
In the guided view in Comixology, at the last scene of this, there she is front and center, but you don't notice her because she's in the background. And the what you notice most prominently is this guy in the foreground with this tree, but I don't know who this is. Mm-hmm. But now that I know about this, and having this center on her is hilarious.
It's so funny. Like, props to Bob Quinn for that.
Yeah, she was like, I'm the best at what I do, and what I do is poop ice cream.
So soft serve, keep an eye out for her. She's in there.
But this makes me realize, though, like, remember sometimes we've looked in the past and been like, who the hell is that character? Like that goggle girl from, I think it was Women of X. Mm-hmm. We didn't know who she was. She might have been another insert character.
Maybe. I mean, now's the time, right? If you wanted to throw someone in here, you do it.
It was interesting that Legion's resurrection was such an event.
I thought it was more of that when they deactivated whatever they were doing with his brain, that it kind of lifted some sort of heretofore unsensed pall that was over the island that he was influencing or being forced to influence.
One thing that was really interesting to me was when he talked about his DID and how he's got a new brain now, so the voices aren't so bad. When talking about DID, they really talk more as if it were schizophrenia, but he absolutely has multiple personalities. So if anything, he would have both. And schizophrenia, sure, would have a biological component, and it would make sense for that to continue on even after resurrection, since they're using the same DNA. DID is based almost entirely in trauma. I guess creating those personalities, they could still exist, but if he's saying that it's quiet in there for now, they'll have to show me a little bit better, because usually, since it's based in trauma, when his mind was transferred over, all those personalities should have been there with him.
I want to give a quick shout out to queer representation. I guess Loa is super in lesbians with Mercury. Mm-hmm. But we've also seen Mercury making out with Bling in the background of X Factor. I'm not going to shame any of these young queer female mutants for getting their thing on with as many people as they want, but Loa's fallen hard for Mercury. Mercury's all in there on the lesbians gang. Happy for her.
Yeah, well, apparently, like, all the girls want Mercury. Yeah. All the young girls are after her.
You know, she has the T-1000 skill where she can turn into anything. So
exactly.
True.
You can't see what I'm doing from the audio, but fisting reference number 2. Boom.
And scissor me timbers.
So let's talk really quickly about this very brief but very impactful panel that happens here when Kurt decides to do David a solid and actually kill him, which is against what he believes. And Kurt actually starts to invoke a Christian prayer and asking for forgiveness, and then says, never mind, and just shoots and kills David. Because Kurt in those notes seems to be struggling a bit with beliefs. Is this as heavy as we think it is? Is this him losing his religion? Losing my religion. Or is this him realizing that what he's doing is actually not sinful and therefore not bound by the human morality of what constitutes murder and death?
Absolutely. I think it's that second option. Kurt realized that what he was doing was a mercy. And he also had every intention of resurrecting David later. So he knew that it wouldn't be a permanent death, and that this is what David wanted, and that David was struggling and in pain and suffering, and he was hurting others. So, like, it was really the perfect climate for Kurt to make this kind of decision. And I just gotta say, the panel looks so good. Never in my life have I really seen Nightcrawler hold a gun and fire it and been like, damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
But That the art snaps. The art was great.
DeVon, how do you feel about these various text pages that we got this time?
These were actually tolerable. The Orcus Protocol makes sense to be in here, and it feeds into my, maybe Charles is the one doing this, because you could easily insert his name into most of this. So I was not as displeased, but I read Wolverine first, so I guess that really.
I did the same thing. I saved the best for last.
Yeah, same.
When David is like, I don't like to be called Legion, Kurt brings up something that I've always wondered about, and I don't think I've ever seen him discuss it in another book. He mentions how a Nightcrawler is actually a worm, and that is gross and disgusting, and he says that children made fun of him and called him a Nightcrawler, and he decided to own it, and that's why he's called the Incredible Nightcrawler. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen him actually discuss that before.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been an explanation, especially given how incorrect it is. So that's nice. We finally have an origin for that. David says, like, don't call me Legion, call me David. But then when he gets revived and revived by himself, he says, call me Legion.
Yeah, I think that was because Kurt got through to him.
Again, just want to shout out how great it is to see Charles be a sniveling little piece of shit, like over and over and over again.
I'm not sold on it. I don't like it as much. I don't like that Professor Charles Xavier has been reduced to a background bureaucrat for most of this. And when we do get a little character moment from him, it's this.
That he's like stuttering, literally stuttering in the face of his son. Like,
right. This is not the House of X, Powers of X guy who can get it all done that we should be expecting. We're weakening the character of Charles Xavier in this.
I don't think we're weakening him. I think we're deepening him. Everywhere else, it's always Xavier, the revered saint. But they really established since issue 1 of Way of X that he has flaws and that he's shaking. And that's why he woke up in a naked nightmare and immediately reached out to the one priest he knows to talk to him about it. And it all has to do with his failings as a father, which is interesting to me because he's seen as a father figure for all of mutants. But when the one child he actually has, he's royally screwed up on. Like, there's a lot of wonderful parallels here. And I really enjoy seeing him humanized as opposed to this, I get shit done, blah, blah, blah guy. His major weakness is David Haller.
That's true, because he did seem to think that the Patchwork Man was actually David, and David reveals in this issue that it isn't. It's actually Xavier, or the product of Xavier and Magneto together, their child, their other son. But I also wonder if Xavier is so nervous here because this is about the point in time where you have someone who is so powerful and has a very conspicuous knowledge that precogs are not being revived on the island. And I wonder if Charles is nervous because this results in the undoing of everything. And because he really can't stand against David. He couldn't, and especially not publicly. So what can he do? And
he could sell his brain to Orcus. Thereby not exactly killing him, but getting him out of the way.
Bitch, that's good. Oh, you're probably right.
Oh, the sins of Xavier. What does Danger have to say about this? Where's Danger? Get Danger on here. Should be like,
Danger.
Danger would be like, he totally would do it. I believe it. Guilty. Yeah. So I would say this is a pretty, again, super dense book. I like everything that it's giving me. This is what I'm here for.
I found myself just like reading through the book quickly and devouring it, really. And then being done and being like, damn, I feel like I ate a proper meal. You know, a lot of times you read a book and you get through it really fast and you're like, I'm still hungry. It was good, but I'm hungry. Not with this one. I feel like it was a good meal and I'm satisfied. I'm okay waiting until the next issue.
So then I think this would be an appropriate time to roll us into our tops and bottoms for the week. So what do we think? I mean, it's kind of obvious, right?
Yeah, I think we're not going to surprise anyone here.
Yeah.
How about, okay, everyone on 3, say who is your bottom.
This has never worked for us. Why are we trying?
Because it's funny. Okay, you get it.
1, 2, 3. Wolverine.
That was close.
Close. Well, since I'm recording 3 separate audio tracks, if this works out, I can just align us in post.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our bottom definitely Wolverine here. I mean, it's just inconsequential, and I don't care about anything that's happening. Way of X, super dense, relevant to everything that's going on. I can't dog Wolverine this time as much because I do think that they played with the tools that are out there with Krakoa by introducing the key plot fix there with the husk of a body that they were going to use for Resurrection Protocol, which is really contrary to that and interesting use of it. And then also introducing, even though I don't particularly care about the character, reintroducing death from Arakko into the plot here. So we'll see what happens. But overall, Wolverine not doing it for me. Way of X, bam, nice job.
Yeah, Way of X definitely knocked it out of the park, giving us some great moments with David. The last time that I saw him was in his solo series, which was Chef's Kiss. Wonderful. If you haven't read it yet, go back to read. It's a must read to understand the character of David and where he is right now. Wolverine, again, it's everything that we've come to know and tire of with Wolverine. He's broody, check. He's got a mysterious woman with a dark past and future, check. Trying to therapize this woman by relating to his dark past. Take a drink. It's more hack and slash. It's just not selling anything. It doesn't advance anything else that's happening in Krakoa, which is what we're mostly interested in. Yeah, we get a moment in Savalith, and we figure out what happened to Death, and that may go somewhere more interesting, but it's not because of Wolverine.
A book like X Factor dies and a waste like Wolverine. That's a little mean. I'm quoting something.
Now the one person who should be here is gone. A waste like you gets to live.
But like, and Wolverine gets to live on as a book. Like, why? Like, is this
should
really?
have been you.
I mean, is this really? I mean, it makes me feel very distanced, possibly, because I'm like, is this really what the majority of comic book purchasers want? Is this what flat scans want out of their books?
I know. I had the same feeling.
When I read Wolverine, and this is probably because Castlevania just finished up on Netflix, but it really read like Wolverine was trying to be in Castlevania, from the art down to the action and what the characters were doing. It felt the same, but not as successful. So he just needed a whip.
And I know that X-Men has a long history with vampire storytelling popping in and out. Of course, you have the very famous Bloodstorm character who showed up at one point.
R.I.P. I miss you.
But I don't know. I personally, I love a vampire story as much as the next person. For some reason, this is a thing that I don't want mixing, right? These are two elements on my dinner plate that I don't want touching each other because it never really jives for me. Isn't everything fantastical enough without having to introduce vampires in their most Hollywood-esque sort of incarnation, right? Like X-Men definitely deals with magic a lot and the world of magic, and that's fine. Excalibur is a great example, and vampires could fit into that. But vampires as they exist in these stories are so like pulp horror, and I can't get into those genres mixing for some reason. It doesn't work for me.
Not to mention that the vampires in Savalith have like when you mentioned before the how they were born in the blood pits or whatever, those looked an awful lot like Krakoa eggs to me. The parallels don't stop. They're really in Wolverine pushing the idea that they're like, you know, we're just the same. We are parallel nations. No, you're fucking not. You eat people.
Yeah, I haven't seen this much like forced equation since they tried to make the Inhumans a freaking thing. Whatever. No one buys it. Like, come up with something different and more interesting for these different groups.
Here we have Way of X. We've got lots of deep philosophical questions that we're asking. Characters are getting development. They're moving in a lot of interesting directions. They even made me feel sorry for Fabian Cortez for like a minute. Like,
because he's like, Dazzler, talk to me?
Yeah, I know. Poor baby loves Dazzler. So, you know, Way of X, again, knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
Easy top.
It's a nice balance, too, of humor and seriousness. I dig it. We are into our next section, which is
Destiny's Due Dates.
Nice. So what do we have coming up for the next week?
We have 3 books. surprisingly, coming up next week, we've got X-Men number 20, New Mutants number 18, and a surprise book, Heroes Reborn, Magneto and the Mutant Force number 1.
Since Way of X did a really great job of keeping us on track of where we are in the timeline, and specifically Way of X is happening on the eve of the gala, and you actually end with all these mutants in their finery, ready to head through the portals, let's take a moment to continue our high fashion mutant review of the week. Let's start with the star of Way of X, our very own Nightcrawler.
I actually really like it. I mean, I know we've seen him dressed like this before, but it's very Kurt.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed by it initially because this is cosplay. I know that Kurt loves to be a swashbuckler and he loves to be a musketeer, and so this is very much a musketeer. At the same time, you know, I want to let him have it just because I think, which of us were talking about this where we were like, you just know that he heard about the gala and he just rushed to his closet and was like, I'm gonna wear this because I have it. And Storm's like, oh, I don't really think this is the assignment, Kurt, but you know what? You look so happy. Just go with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it is. I think he looks cute. It's Nightcrawler, so I have to love him. Got his little feather in his cap. The only thing he's missing is, I think, instead of a parrot, he should have Lockheed on his shoulder.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Yeah.
Or one of the Bamfs.
Yeah, one of the Bamfs would be perfect. And a little bow tie.
I wonder, where are the Bamfs? We have not seen them yet.
Most of the Bamfs were actually used to reconstitute Kurt's body.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
But a few were still around after.
Nightcrawler conspicuously actually does not have a sword on him, which seems to be kind of missing. He's got this walking cane, but maybe the cane will actually reveal that there's a blade inside, which would be nice.
I bet money.
I think it's a little missed with this design that we don't see his tail. And I am going to dock it a little bit because some of the anatomy here is wrong. Kurt actually has a back toe. In addition to his 2 front toes, he has a back toe. He could not be wearing boots like this unless this is part of an image inducer.
That's a very good point. I agree with everything but the sword. He is a member of the Quiet Council. He cannot show up armed to a gala, even if it is ceremonial.
But I do think he looks really dapper here. I'm going to give this and I know it's not really on assignment, but how many times does Kurt, as a man of the cloth and everyone's favorite X-Man, really get to dress up like this? So I'm going to give him a B+.
I mean, if we look at the other males who are attending this gala, Kurt definitely stands out.
That's true.
Much more so than Sebastian Shaw. Maybe not as much as Colossus, which we will get to later. But yeah, he's definitely got a more unique look here, and I'm loving this asymmetrical off-the-shoulder cape that you don't know what's he holding.
Again, capelet. I'm telling you, capelet every time.
One of my favorite things about the Way of X issue this week was how Legion was like, I already know what you're wearing to the gala. So like he's saying the exact same shit that we're saying. Everybody knows it. Everyone is like, yeah, that was in Nightcrawler's closet. He didn't go to Jumbo. He just has. And it's just, look at his little smile. He's so happy. I'm sorry. I can't give him anything less than an A. I'm happy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give him an A-.
Kurt is definitely that friend you have who everyone loves him, but you also know that your friend is like super into like Ren Fair stuff. So whenever like there's a wedding or something, you're just kind of like, okay, just wear it. I know you're excited to wear it. Everyone else is wearing midnight blue modern gowns, but fine, like wear it. If it makes you happy, wear it. So happy for him. So the next look we have here is our other co-star of Way of X. We have Pixie.
Well, that's a decision that she.
So before we totally dock this, because I would if there wasn't more character context here. I don't know if y'all knew this, but back in the day, Pixie, when she was initially introduced, just was a very bright and chipper kind of character. She had this bright pink hair, and then she had the storyline where she gets part of her soul turned into the soul knife. And what happens as a result is she has these black streaks that start appearing in her hair. And there's always been this weird trade-off with Pixie, especially in the Age of X, where she manifests instead as Nightmare, right? She's a very different person and she has like bat wings and things like that. So there seems to be this back and forth about Pixie's good side and her dark side. And so the choice for her to take this very black gown with an interesting play here, because she has butterflies in her hair, which is really light and sweet, but her wings are kind of black and pink, and then she's wearing this long black gown. It seems like a nice call to that. I kind of like it.
Well, given all of that background, I'm still giving this a feeling great.
Wow, a fail?
Oh, okay, not a fail exactly, but definitely not passing. D.
A D is a passing grade.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not in my
Not
class.
my household.
Well, not in my household, Asian American here, but it's not a stunner, but I do like the play and contrasts here. I'm probably going to give this B-.
So I love a good black and hot pink combo.
Come on, Hot Topic.
Yeah, really. Yeah, sadly, that is a little bit of my aesthetic. You should have seen me in the early 2000s. I think what is missing in this dress is that the dress, in my opinion, should be more sheer. Like, if we could see her legs underneath, we can kind of see her hips a little bit. I would have enjoyed it more.
This is like a mesh.
Yeah, it needs to be more mesh. I need to be able to see through it. That ethereal nature would be really nice for her.
I think that's a really good point. I think that if you had let the mesh travel up a little bit more in terms of its density until it is a little bit more obvious, like travel that down the arms a little bit more, right? Travel that down the hips or maybe up to the collar a bit more. And I think that would have had a really cool effect.
You know, I did not read that as mesh. I didn't read that as seeing her flesh beneath that. I thought those were sort of pink accents that were a little modeled.
Oh, I see.
Wow, that's okay. That changes my grade, D-. I like it less now.
What?
Damn!
Jesus. Well, my B- still stands to counter the dark magic that you have laid upon her.
I will say I don't like the butterflies in her hair. I get it, but they just seem out of place to me.
She grew those herself.
Oh, did she? Yeah, they're live.
From all her dead bodies.
Oh, well, now I have to give it a C-.
Wow, okay, poor Pixie. We're going to take a look at one of our other side characters who's been showing up in the books lately, Loa.
I'm just going to come out and say it. I love it.
I do think it's daring. This is reminiscent of the kind of cape that Sinister should have been wearing to the gala.
Agreed.
And she's very lionfish.
She actually spent time underwater in Namor's kingdom.
That's right, she did, yes. I kind of dig it for that marine fashion kind of idea here. It's not one of my favorites, unfortunately, just because it doesn't really have anything to do with her powers, except that is a nice connection with her time back in Atlantis. Still, it is doing more than what a lot of people have been doing, so I'm going to give this a B+.
I like it. It's very festive.
Quote, festive.
It doesn't give me much, many Hawaiian vibes, but she is Hawaiian.
I don't know if lionfish are like particularly around that area.
I didn't look that part up. I think it fits well with her aesthetic. I'm not overly familiar with Loa. That's why I had to look up a lot of this. So I can't really speak to how well it fits her character or story. The dress itself, the drama of this headpiece, the cape, it fits well with her facial tattoos. The dress itself is stunning. I'm going to give it a B+.
When I look at it, I really just wish she was actually swimming, or like swimming through the air. That's not a part of her power set at all, though, so it's not going to happen. It's kind of interesting also when you think about what her powers are, because she phases through things and then tears shit up on the way through, right?
Yeah, she crumbles matter that passes through her. So, and she does describe it actually as swimming. She swims through matter, and what she swims through will basically fall apart. She's like Kitty going through any computer except actually doing lasting damage.
Yeah. I do remember when Deadpool threw her like in a weird fastball special situation in the car shop. So like I like it. And I think it's really regal. I love the collar and the cape and her facial markings being incorporated into it. It's like the whole, celebrating the skin you're in kind of thing. So I'll give her a B+ for it.
My only thing here is that I wish Loa was more prominent to deserve a dress that is actually this good compared
Right?
to some of what we've seen from other senior X-Men.
Uh-huh.
Dazzler.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
God. Like, Leilani's showing up these hoes, man.
Like Dazzler is literally is given a disservice by being in the Hellfire Gala guidebook. She's on the same page, literally right next to Loa, and it's just ouch, hurts the poor thing.
So we don't actually see her in this book, but we hear reference of her because Loa not only talks about her outfit for the gala, but is totally in lesbians with her. This is a character we've seen in some background stuff. We have Mercury. By the way, these designs were by Bob Quinn.
I am not sure how I feel about this.
You know, the way Loa describes it, she's like, oh, it just flows all over her and it's like amazing. And I was like, this is lazy.
Same. I'm
Yeah,
like,
okay.
I mean, I get it that Mercury doesn't need to wear anything. She is a transmorph. Her whole body is just liquid mercury, but like she's also a person, and she's a person who's been seen to wear clothes. So she's someone who, you know, clearly enjoys fashion. In fact, when she was initially written, Mercury, Cecily was like your everyday cheerleader. She was a popular girl. So she has a lot of those aesthetics that she likes popular things and pop culture. So I would think that at a gala, she would really want to do something that is an outrageous design. If maybe she's changed and she's become more of like a free spirit, she really doesn't care and she just wants to, you know, celebrate her mutantdom, maybe I could understand this more. But also just as a design, I don't super love it. It's not, to me, very high fashion.
Mercury is a relatively new character, so she's fairly young, and I'm not sure how I feel about sending like preteen girls out without any clothes. This over sexualization of possibly underage X-Men members.
I think Mercury's
Even if
probably
it-
like 18, but yeah, even
Okay.
so, I mean, like an 18-year-old showing up like nearly naked to
Wearing body paint
yeah,
to a gala,
yeah.
even if her anatomy isn't, you know, traditional, she's still essentially naked.
listen, I see the body paint. Number one, I don't think she went to Jumbo Carnation. I think that she had an idea. She went to Ace Hardware, put some spray paint on her body, and she's using her Mercury form to just shift it around constantly, which is a nice use of her powers, but you look like street art. It also makes me think, like, I'm going to assume that she's 18 for the sake of this joke, she kind of looks like, you know, that girl that's a freshman in college that, you know, has done drugs for the first time and it's become her whole personality.
Oh my God, I knew a girl like that in college. I
Same.
went to high school with.
Yep.
We've all known this girl, and we've all avoided talking to her at a party.
Like,
Yeah.
because the way Loa describes it in Way of X, she's like, these are metallic paints that kind of just circulate around her skin like oil on a puddle. And we know that it's supposed to be sexualized because Loa is specifically saying that when she sees it, she gets incredibly tongue-tied and is even more in lesbians with Mercury. So it's supposed to be provocative. I don't think it's very clever or interesting. I'm going to give this a D.
It's very sort of cinematic X-Men mystique.
I see that.
So I'm giving it a D minus.
I give it a C minus. I think it's cute. I like it, and I appreciate her, you know, celebrating her form, considering it was traumatizing when she first got it.
What would be much cooler is, since her body can basically turn into anything, is if she kind of pulled a Mystique and made some amazing ornate outfit out of her own body. That would be cool. This is lazy.
Oh, but you hated it when Iceman did it.
Yeah, because Iceman's was disgusting.
He didn't do anything good. I
Yeah.
wanted to look good.
Yeah, that's the element here. I don't want him to just make stuff. I want it to actually, you know, be, you know, good. So next, we are going toward the long anticipated, we've wanted to talk about this for a long time. We're literally wet with anticipation. We're going to talk about the daddy of the night, Colossus.
You may have seen this look in several Twitter thirst tweets.
Or if you happen to enjoy the work of Rocco Steele.
I'm sorry. Did you say my husband?
Bitch, you wish. Well, you know what? This is Krakoa. Colossus is everybody's husband.
Yes, he is, and I will take my turn.
Okay, can we just like talk about how well executed this design is? So here, they actually gave us 3 elements.
Yeah, I was
of
gonna
this
say.
design. So we not only have him just wearing his outfit along with the cloak, we have what the outfit looks like without the cloak. And then we have him also wearing the Ushanka when he walks in. I mean, this is designed for the entrance, the party, and the after party. This to me is excellent. I mean, thirsty as hell, yes, but we do get to see the body underneath. The straps that kind of line up the torso section of this are a smart way of incorporating the design of his powers, because they're also those same bands that he normally has running along his entire body. But damn, if he just doesn't look fantastic, and it incorporates his Russian background. This is excellent. Excellent. I'm giving it an A+ out the
Not to mention, in the Gala guide, he has a quote that he was asked about. Because no matter if I go Krakoa home, it is important that I always carry the memory of my country with me. The pride of Russia is in my blood and in my style. So I just,
And we never get to see Colossus dressed up like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We also never get to see these organic steel nipples. I mean, that's boosting the score incredibly alone.
And outside of some, very provocative fan art that's out there, we never get to see these organic steel bulges that he's got displayed.
This man will never need Viagra.
Never.
Ever.
He could be like taking a day off and you will still get finished.
Mm-hmm. He could be painting something and working on you at the same time. He's not even paying attention to you. This is not a man that has to think about, I don't know, his grandma and the ABCs during the act. He can multitask. He can do all sorts of things while also doing that activity.
I just want to state that this is such a good example of the assignment and knowing exactly what the assignment is, because not only have you subtly hinted at the character's powers, which is fantastic, you've also designed an outfit that is absolutely high fashion and looks amazing. I waffle with other characters' designs because I'm like, oh, it doesn't really speak to the powers, or it just doesn't look that great. But this is the perfect distillation of that.
Yes, I'm going to try and not be so thirsty. We've gotten the horny part out of the way, I think. Give me time. But this is a proper gala look. It is fashionable. It is gorgeous. It is representative of the character in so many ways. And like you said, it incorporates his power, but not in an obvious way. Like with Dazzler, with Mercury, it was all, I'm using my powers and that's carrying through. With this, no, the power is a part of the costume. It's just smart on every level. And when I look at the capeless form, we get a really good look at his little collar on his shirt. And see, I thought that top chain was a part of the cape, but it turns out, no, it's actually just part of the shirt. And damn if that little pop of gold doesn't just bring it together, like a little button.
We never really get to see Colossus sexualized like this. Even in the run where Colossus was being sought after by Kitty in that creepy storyline that we will not get into the details of, we never really see him as a sex symbol. All the elements are there. He is big, he's strong, but he's always been this sweet farm boy who's been morally conflicted about his role in the X-Men throughout his entire membership. And now we are seeing a side where we're really bringing out what has been there all along, seeing him with fresh eyes. He's the she's got it girl coming down the stairs on her way to prom. And we are in awe. Lucas Wernick, designer of this look, we tip our Ushankas to you.
I mean, literally, this is Colossus showing up at the grown and sexy party. You never knew, but now you do.
The best he's ever looked.
I would give it an A+, but all the beautiful, amazing detail of this costume really stops at the crotch and everything beneath. I know your eyes haven't gone that far down yet, but there's nothing beneath that.
Lies and slander, Liza Minnelli. Do you not see those thighs?
Okay, the shoes though, where are they? What are they?
They are nondescript black boots, and I'm into it.
That fade into the pants. It's like imagination just stopped after the bulge.
No, it continued to the thighs. Yeah. My God, when he walks, you hear applause.
And he has calves that people would kill for, so.
So I'm still rating this highly because what is detailed is amazing, and it brings out a side of Colossus that we never really saw before. So I'm giving this an A.
For me, this is immaculate. So I have to say A+. I'm just a whole sir.
So our next look here is Black Queen of the Hellfire Club, Celine. Girl, she looks like she played too much Bayonetta and she's here to cosplay. Like maybe she and Kurt can like meet up and be like, hey, high five, love your outfit. Because it could be the way that her expression is drawn. She doesn't look like the Celine that we know, who is always kind of menacing. Here, she looks like a very happy girl in her Bayonetta cosplay.
She looks like she had to get someone to help her to lube up before getting into that thing. I think there's a jar of Crisco in her house somewhere.
Well, certainly to slick back that hair into that cone.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like she went through Janet Jackson's closet and had 5 minutes to pick something out.
This looks like Drag You, where you took a very nervous, straight cis girl and put her in like BDSM gear, and she's trying her best because she wants to win the prize for her family, but she's still not really selling the aesthetic. And she's got the little crop here and she doesn't know what to do with it. Like,
yeah, and her drag professor is like, "Woo, my girl Celine is stunning. She is stomping down that runway." Meanwhile, it's her just nervously like trying not to fall.
And frankly, I want to be a little fair here because I feel like if the expression was drawn differently, like if her expression looked more of like cool, calm, and collected, maybe I'd buy into this more. But this is like Celine looking the most pleasant I think I've ever seen her before.
The face says, "Oh, hi, it's so good to see you at the supermarket." But everything else says, "It's so good to see you at the dungeon."
This is like suburban Barb meeting you at the Halloween party. And she's like, "I just went to the store and told them just like put me in whatever." Isn't this amazing?
I want a panel where Sinister says, "And I told her she looked great."
Oh, is that why Sinister is wearing the cape that he's wearing? Because he loaned all his better capes out to other people?
What if all these capes are actually Sinisters?
Borrowed from storage in the Sinister collection. Like, I know you guys didn't feel any particular way about it, but I thought in the Chris Anka book in Uncanny X-Men, where they had the Sisterhood of Evil Mutants, and Celine showed up there, I thought what she was wearing, which she actually shows up for when they introduced all the villains onto Krakoa, she's wearing that same outfit. That to me is super chic. It's almost primal. She had like a skull. It spoke to her like ancient magic sort of vibe. This is not doing it for me. I'm going to give this but she tried. I'm giving it a C.
I know this isn't really related to the fashion, but it's problematic for me to have her even be featured so heavily at the gala, considering that the last time we saw her in Marvel Comics was in a Captain America run where she was murdering like countless numbers of incels and draining their life force. And it's like, okay, so much for Kill No Man.
Maybe she's been filling that role of like the dominatrix for incels, holding their money for them, and she's like debasing them and also draining them all of their energies and killing them.
Did you say Elektra Abundance?
I know, she's like Elektra Abundance, except Elektra would look much better in this.
Oh, much better. And she would have the right facial expression.
Yeah, Elektra would wear the outfit. Celine is letting this outfit wear her.
Yeah.
Which I would never expect.
Yeah, this is not Celine. This is Paula Abdul at a Halloween.
This is so funny.
That's so true.
So funny. I was just listening to Vibology before we started recording.
Oh my god.
I give her a C-.
Oh, I'm straight D.
Okay, straight D. All right. Our next look here is Wolverine X-23, just to clarify. So Wolverine.
I like the asymmetrical skirt. I like the top. I don't know if this says gala to me.
This is a girl in high school who has some money buying a relatively avant-garde dress that is definitely a prom dress, and I'm not into it. I think the asymmetrical skirt would be better if it didn't actually hem horizontally and end. I think if you let it be asymmetrical on an angle, that would be more elegant here. I never buy, I've seen this so many times, but I never buy a top that cuts in and narrows at the stomach, it will never hold that way, the way you want it to in a design. I kind of dig that the yellow and blue pattern here is kind of Art Deco, but the gloves are what? The boots, leggings are what? I don't know. And it reads, it is a choker, but it's I guess it's supposed to read like the dress wraps up and around, but it reads like a 90s choker to me. I don't think this is sophisticated at all. And you might claim that that's Laura's whole bag, but frankly, everyone here is supposed to be getting in their digs. And I know I said that about DeKen in the previous episode, but this is awkward. She probably deserves better. I give this a C-.
C+ for me.
She definitely deserves better. First of all, I'm bothered because it doesn't look like a gala dress. It just looks like a dress. As you said, the part at the hips, they should go down. We should see more of her hips. Maybe it is in an hourglass shape, or with like a ring in the middle at the navel, or like an X shape, which would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get that. It looks also, the half skirt, I agree, it needs to be more vertical in its asymmetry. This looks like she took her claws and cut off half the dress. And she did nothing to her hair. I'm surprised she's even wearing rouge. Honestly, she deserves better. She could feel really pretty. This doesn't look like she looks pretty. This looks like she is mad that Logan is on security detail. She wishes she had gotten it. I give her a D-. The only reason I'm not failing her is because a tiny bit of effort went in.
Let's see how her teammate Sink did.
He looks like a voodoo witch doctor. I'm going to say it. He
I'm
looks like he's
glad
about to sell you weed.
He's so new. Like the coat, I get it. It's totally a reference to his powers. It looks like the tie-dye tapestry that someone has hung on their back wall in their holistic herb shop where they're selling you crystals and other things. I think the general look here without the coat is very contemporary red carpet, especially for a lot of young Black male celebrities. It definitely falls within that vein here. I would understand the coat more if it didn't look so cheap. And I don't know if that's a function of the way the fabric is drawn, the way that they've incorporated his power signature into the fabric, but it makes it look like I feel like this would be made out of like a very bad satin. And I think you can make a very sophisticated coat that he could be wearing that would take this look that much higher. I don't want to dock it too much because I think it's definitely on trend, everything below the coat. The rings are great. There, DeVon, you actually have pants going into boots, so I hope you're happy.
Hey, this is also from Lucas Wernick, so we know he can draw shoes.
But I just don't love it. I don't think the coat is really dragging it down because it makes it look so cheap when it shouldn't. Everything else looks great. So, and nowhere near as clever as the Colossus thing. I'm going to give this a C+. The plus because it's on trend. The C because that coat just isn't working for me.
I mean, as much as I harped on this in the beginning, he is Generation X, and that coat is everything 90s. Everything that was wrong with the 90s, but everything 90s. I do like the boots, the shoes, the pants. The cummerbund is a bit much, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a C+. B-.
I actually think the coat is kind of cute. One of the things that I like about it is that if he were at a red carpet in real life, he would look stunning. He would look great. People would be like, this is fantastic. Problem is, he is at the best red carpet there will ever be, the green carpet at the gala. And so it's not as stunning compared to what some of the others we've seen. My first response when I saw this, literally the words out of my mouth were, Dr. Facilier, is that you? I'm just expecting him to, talk about friends on the other side. I will say, you zoom in, I want that necklace. That is a cute ass X necklace. I would buy the shit out of that.
It looks like the way Usher tends to dress up at red carpets, where he knows that he's too good for the event. So he's not putting in like that much effort to really like wow anybody, because who doesn't fucking know who Usher is? This is casual. It's almost too casual for a red carpet, but he's better than it. Mm-hmm. So he's not taking any risks, which is unfortunate, but he doesn't look bad.
I'll give him a straight C.
Okay. All right. And we have Sunspot.
I refuse. I absolutely refuse. What is this? What is this? It's
Would this be more appealing if he was not using his powers and it was revealed that all of the non-orange stuff here was just bared skin?
Yes.
So-
If he was
That's
basically
what
naked, I would be here for it. But he is
that's
not.
that's what I thought it was, and I'm still feeling it.
The one boot is awful. The other bootlegging, there's something to be said about at least trying to capture motion. In this case, what the fuck does this have to do with Sunspot? Absolutely fucking nothing.
He looks less like Sunspot and more like Solar Flare.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling any of this, especially the little smoke effects on his head that look like stiff horns.
He makes me think of a Jen.
The thing here is that Roberto is too wealthy and too privileged to have shown up at the Hellfire Gala looking like this.
Yes.
You're right, because this looks like something that a Morlock would have thrown together and been like, oh, this is cute. And if a Morlock had done it, I would have been like, yes, work, within your means. But not Sunspot. Sunspot, who was just referenced as having like crazy expensive space lawyers.
And also being like, at one point, the Black King of the Hellfire Club, like he would have better style. And that's saying a lot considering that Shaw looks like garbage. So, no, sorry, honey. I'm giving this a D.
F.
D-.
It's what you deserve. You take that rating and you think about what you did. Speaking of Roberto, then, let's talk about his best buddy, Cannonball.
Or as you may know him, Sid Highwind from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, DeVon clocked this as a very Final Fantasy reject outfit, and I'll give it to him there. I still, I love a high collar and a capelet. I'm into it. Super cute. I love the piping, black and yellow, super dramatic, but it's very functional, not very high fashion.
So I look at it. I think he looks cute. I think he looks good.
He does look cute.
The best part about this is that Cannonball is immune. He's invulnerable to our criticisms while he's blasted.
Even if he did wear goggles to a gala.
Right, get it though. I think the goggles are actually a good touch and very referential for the character.
They are, but could we have not imagined a more high fashion take on the goggle?
Thank you. I mean, even Cyclops did a better take on the eyewear.
Like, where's the creativity here?
Oh God, I just had a realization. It's probably going to tank his score, but it needs to be said. Does anyone else get Confederacy vibes from this?
Ooh.
Don't you see it?
I mean, the yellow saves it a bit, but yeah, I see it.
I don't think it was intentional, but now I can't not see it.
Right. I don't think they intended that at all, but...
Back it up, Sam. It's over.
I mean, this is combat. Look at those boots. This is not high fashion. This isn't even like the conceit of military reference or influence in fashion. This is just straight up military. So I think he looks cute in it. I think it would be a great uniform if this is what he was wearing on a team. For the gala, no. So I'm going to give this a C-, D+.
Unless that team was fighting for the South.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that is actually going to affect my score because I can't unsee it as well. I'm going to give it a D+. I do like the cut, the yellow accents. I actually do kind of like this capelet.
It's a cute capelet. I would wear that capelet.
Yeah, like it's a cute look. If it was in navy blue, I'd probably wear it. Just on these observations, I can't unsee it. So I'm going to say C-.
Okay. So here we're going to look at the long, complicated relationship with the X-Men character, Sunfire. I'm going to say it. The Fire Kingdom threw up all over him. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But you are using his classic mask, which was traditional, with a few modifications here to be a bit more regal. But it definitely looks like he came straight out of the Fire Kingdom with this design. I don't think it's bad. I totally dig the pattern here. It kind of reiterates the Segaiha pattern from Japan. It's very classic detailed line work, which I adore. I love the pants. They're kind of different. I actually don't dislike this too much. I just wish it didn't feel quite so directly lifted from a piece of property I already know that exists. So independent of that, I would give this a B+. He definitely looks like a regal individual, a person with a lot of pride and a lot of class. So B+.
Those are my exact sentiments. He looks, there's no better word for it, regal. This is the Sunfire that we know he thinks. I don't want to say exactly what you said, but those were my exact thoughts.
No, go for it.
I really have no more to say about it. I like it for all those exact reasons. I'm giving it a B.
He definitely looks like Prince Zuko, period. But I do like the line work. It kind of gives me a lava feel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I just wish his powers were more incorporated. Like, sure, fire, flames on the side of my face. But I had to. But
3 episodes in a row now. Bing.
yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that forever. But if you zoom in on the top of his mask, doesn't that kind of look like a Pokeball?
I
can't tell what it's supposed to be, but it definitely kind of looks like a Pokeball. He's got a little bit of a top knot. Again, Fire Kingdom.
Yeah, it's cute. But I just wish there was more of his actual power and not, just drawn fire. I want to really see him burning.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So because there's no actual power displayed, B-.
Maybe he'll pull a Katniss and the coat will just burn right off of him at the gala.
Right.
Bitch, I would live. Yes, or Cruella.
Katniss did it first. Okay.
So let's look at someone who's also from that exact same era, his contemporary. Let's take a look at the senior X-Man, Banshee. I think the cape is dramatic, which I love. But this is an example where I feel like the costume element has been too directly copied onto the outfit. So I actually don't dig how it's basically just his regular Banshee cape or wings. The green and yellow is expected. Those are his colors. I do think the loafers, I go 2 ways about them. I think they're too casual, but at the same time, totally appropriate with contemporary looks here. The gloves are a nice touch for authority. But then you have the off-center tie, which doesn't seem to be necessary either. I think you should have gone with the exposed chest and then the tie is perfect, even if it makes no sense, because that is what makes it interesting. Having it off-center makes it feel like you didn't care, but you kept it on there anyway. I mean, he looks great though. I mean, I've not really spent a lot of time with Banshee, but it does look good. The suit is really well drawn here. It looks like it's tailored. It's just not very imaginative. It's just a suit. I'm gonna give this a C.
I don't know if anyone has seen Cowboy Bebop.
Yes.
But this is very Spike Spiegel.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Chest out.
And very jet black in the mutton chops. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Banshee's always had the mutton chops, but it's just like if you mix the 2 of them together.
Exactly. I like the cape. Because of his powers, it also looks quite functional. So he can make a speedy exit whenever necessary. And I'm a big fan of a speedy exit from a crowd of people. B-.
Okay, but recognizing his powers, you know what a speedy exit would be? A speedy exit would not be an inconspicuous exit, because he's literally going to shriek and fly away. I'm tired of this.
I lost the X-Men vote.
Hey, a speedy exit and a dramatic exit go hand in hand sometimes.
It's like floors the cape around, start screaming, and just leave the bar.
Shatters the glasses.
That's how I leave all of my family reunions.
Oh my God.
I'm not invited to those anymore. Your family reunion, not mine. My first thought is I think that Banshee was keeping Colossus company while he was getting fitted for his outfit with Jumbo. And he was like, hey, Jumbo, can you make that for me? And so, because the cape is very reminiscent of Colossus cape, just in Banshee style, but not as good. This is like the knockoff of Colossus cape. I think he should have lost a tie, period. Exposed chest, go for it. I think we just need to see that muscle. Come on, daddy.
Right.
You're one of the few confirmed dads. Come on. I give it. He still looks good. I don't mind the loafers either, honestly. So I'll give him a B-.
Next up, we have one of our 2 classic figures of the X-Men conflict, Magneto.
I chimed in with the haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn gate? Because that's Magneto. He is Brendan Urie. He is old Panic at the Disco. It's Panic at the Gala. That's what this is.
This is absolutely what you would wear to a gala. It is appropriate. But here's what I'm going to say about this. It's very human. That is what a human would wear to the gala. And Magneto is a champion of mutant supremacy. He is a champion of mutants being distinct and different and having greater vision than human culture. So I'm a little disappointed that he chose something that was so conventionally human, even if it is I mean, for the most part, very on par. I do love the idea of wearing a sash that coils around his arm. That's very dramatic, a bit different. So in that one regard, I do think that this is appropriate and it is stunning, but it's kind of like old guard stunning. This is an older gentleman who's distinguished. It doesn't read to me as like the power and authority of Magneto. I'm going to give this a B.
I mean, we have to remember that Magneto is in his 90s at this point. So those shoes look really comfortable. And if he wants to dress like a color inverted Mr. Monopoly, I think we should just respect our elders and allow it.
Do not pass go. Go straight to jail.
Do not collect 200.
I wouldn't expect to see Magneto in anything avant-garde. I mean, this is on par for him. This is exactly what he would agree to wear. I think maybe if something more daring had been proposed, he would have turned it down. This is probably option number 3.
I don't know. Magneto has a whole flair for the authority out there. I don't think I could ever see him be convinced to wear the top hat. I almost think that he probably would have demanded or expected to wear something that was like a crown.
Magneto spent the early days of his career wearing red and purple. I think he has grown since then as a character, and here we are, where his outfit is not painful to our eyes.
I think it's nice in this, like it looks good. There's a lot of good detail work here. Part of me is really hoping that that cape is actually stiff metal that's coiled around his arm, and he's using his powers to make it like fabric.
What if it's actual gold, a sheet of gold?
Oh, bitch, that would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
And also edible. So it also works as a snack.
So is he also giving us Willy Wonka?
It kind of is.
I'm seeing that now.
You want the golden ticket? This is the golden ticket, honey.
Well, I can't unsee it.
Yeah, here he is.
One of the most striking parts of Pox for me was Magneto saying, like, you have new gods now. He has always believed himself to be a god among men. I would expect him to wear something that almost, if he wore Warren's outfit, that would speak more to like that whole god vision that he has than
yeah.
So that's why it's a little disappointing to me. I think he's really been on the hype about being a superior being.
I'm still giving it a B-. I'm going to assume that is an actual sheet of gold coiled around him.
Yeah, he looks good, but he does also make me think of a drum major.
I could see it.
You know, like he's leading the band. The only thing is he's definitely leading the band at like a PWI and not an HBCU because there's not enough flair there.
Oh my God.
But he looks good, so I'll give him a B-.
Do you know what he looks like to me? He looks like in a movie, whenever you see an old, dumpy, frumpy man who finally has a chance to take a woman friend he likes out for the evening, and he shows up in his dusty tuxedo, looking good, but very out of fashion. But you want to give him the points because he's a distinguished old gentleman from previous age. That's what that looks like to me.
Sir, this is too much for the Olive Garden.
Yes! Like, I'm taking you out to the Olive Garden in this. Like, oh my God. Absolutely. 100%.
I need a picture of Magneto and maybe a couple other X-Men, I don't know who, waiting in the queue for Olive Garden.
God. Oh, Lord.
You said unlimited soup and breadsticks.
So, we're going to look at Magneto's other half now, the founder of Krakoa, and basically its complete operating system, Xavier.
Sir, what happened?
Okay, did the two of them coordinate on this whole white and gold thing, like, together?
I think they only agreed on the colors, and there was some miscommunication here because this man looks like CeeLo Green.
Meets Daft Punk.
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, did he literally commission another Cerebro helmet to be made, this time in gold?
Mm-hmm.
He spray painted it.
How unnecessary. Like, have you ever watched Semi-Homemade with Sandra Lee? Every time her colorscape would change, she would have a different KitchenAid of another color. And you're like, who has a KitchenAid in every single color? No one. Who has Cerebro helmets in like every conceivable like design color here? Like, nobody.
First of all, I love Aunt Sandy. We're just going to add 2 shots of vodka is my life guide.
Glug, 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 glug.
Even beyond that, it also makes me think of this old Kathy Griffin bit where Barbara Streisand was on Oprah. And it turned out that Barbara Streisand was an all white and she had a white microphone And then at the end, Oprah is like, "Girl, where'd you get that white microphone?" And she's like, "Oh, I had one of yours painted." I feel like that's what this is. He's DeVon's right. He totally spray painted Cerebro.
God, can you see Xavier just like chilling out somewhere in a parking lot with a New York Times newspaper and a can of like gold applique spray paint, just like.
And Mercury is like, "Hey, can I borrow that when you're done?"
Right. She's like, "That's my costume. What the hell?" I think that these are supposed to be chains, like necklaces, bling, like around his neck. That's what I think it is.
No, I think it's actually just supposed to be Krakoan photo.
I mean, these are the plants. Yeah, the Krakoan plants are on his person.
Yeah.
I can't tell if that's supposed to be just the same, like, embroidered accents, or if they're actually supposed to be necklaces and chains here. If they're chains, it doesn't read Xavier at all, and I think he shouldn't be rocking that kind of look at all, and he doesn't. If it's the same kind of ornaments that he's got on his arms and legs, it doesn't look very good regardless. Also, I know that his whole deal is Krakoa, that he basically started this place, but like Black Tom would be wearing those kinds of things. Maybe Domino, because she's actually using it as a weapon. Why the hell would Xavier be having them on unless they were specifically there to like be some sort of defense system for him?
Look, I get it. You have legs and you want to show them off, but they're still a little atrophied, baby. He should have been in a wrap or like a robe or something, because this does not work. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It is striking and it will stick in your mind for all the wrong reasons. Like, I don't want to give it an F because a lot of effort clearly went into this, but also I hate it. So F.
Well, not far behind. I'm gonna give this a D because it doesn't look great, Charles. Like, this is not a you look.
Right. Yeah, I'm also giving it a D because form-fitting white jumpsuit, the D is all you're gonna see. So
And frankly, haven't enough people been exposed to Xavier's D more than we actually want? In an alternate universe, I would have given Xavier an A+ for that hot pink fur look with Emma. Like, did you see that when we sent it on the chat, DeVon?
I don't think
someone
I did.
basically put Xavier's head on Emma's fur look with the hot pink X and the shoes. That would have
That was a look.
That would be Xavier rocking the legs because he's showing that leg, right? Like,
that would give me A+.
Yeah,
all the way
that would
around.
be A+. In an alternate universe, we would have given you an A+ for that, Charles.
Sasha Velour, Shantae You Stay is what that is.
Missed opportunity, Charles. I can imagine him standing next to Emma. One of us is going to have to change.
That's why she has 3 outfits.
And it's a psychic duel. It's a psychic fight. And she's like, "I may not be as strong as you, Charles, but I have better technique." Okay, so we're going to do something really quick here. As you might have seen, the X-Force crew actually isn't wearing stuff that's that prominent because they are actually running security for the event. So given that these are not particularly astounding looks, we're going to run really quickly through the members of X-Force, and we're going to give our quick shot ratings for their looks. Starting with Wolverine, I'm going to say he looks great. He's kind of James Bond. Nothing special about this, though. I'm going to give it a B.
Cleated boots at a gala? Sir, C.
Hated it, D.
Okay, moving on. We've got human computer and minor telepath and sometimes accountant, Sage. You and Celine should hook up because this is also like Bayonetta fell all over you guys. So I hate this side patch, so I'm going to give it a C.
I like that I actually noticed what you're wearing this time, but that bejeweled fanny pack? C.
That fanny pack is so Rob Liefeld, it hurts. But hey, we can see your titties. But I miss your red glasses. C.
All right. Next, we've got Domino. Speaking of patches, why? C-.
This was in your closet already, wasn't it? C.
Why do you have that weird Krakoan arm thing? You don't need it anymore. Your body has been healed. This is unnecessary, and it kind of looks like a jumpsuit all the way down. So, D.
All right. And then we've got our last member of X-Force, Kid Omega. God damn, what's with the fucking satchel patches? You don't need these. It does fit. I can see a little bit of crotch bump here. So are those really pants? B-.
B-. You're showing off those enhancements, and I respect that.
You're wearing your house keys on your bolo? F. Okay,
All
fine,
right.
he's a D. I'll be fair.
Okay, so
You know how I feel.
Bees all around. All right. So that is our quick fire look at the X-Force team run in security. Also, can we just really quickly talk about all of them have bolo ties? Who made that decision? Why?
Carabad.
Okay, so those were our looks for the week. Seems like our number one look for this week was Daddy Colossus.
No surprise here.
It is so well designed. I mean, I have so few complaints. I know he's a thirst trap, but even beyond that, this is a very comprehensive look, well designed. Amen.
Those shoes though.
Get over it.
He's wearing satin undies. But I'm not young like I used to be, so I can't put my legs over my head, but I need you to know that I'll try, Colossus. I'll try, damn it. Yeah.
And you can't see this at home, but Michael has pretty much given himself a hernia.
Yeah, he's trying to throw those legs back behind his ears, but time comes for us all.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital.
Oh, my hip. Yeah, good job, Daddy. I mean, because this was a look. Oof.
Salute.
All right. So what did you think of our rankings of today's looks? What did you think of our reviews of the comics? Are you a huge Wolverine fan? Because if you are, I'm sorry.
You are at the wrong podcast.
I mean, but if you have a comment to give to us, of course, send us an email, write a comment on our YouTube channel. Let us know what you think about our opinions. And you can always reach us at goodmorningkrakoa@gmail.com.
So yeah, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share all that Good Morning Krakoa goodness. We here at GMK value your opinion, and we want more of you. We love you. We need you. But we'll have to find you next time. So with that said, good morning, Krakoa, and good night.